It is Round of Shots. James Struble, Kevin Hale. What's up, my brother?
Just chilling on a Monday night. A lot of stuff to get to tonight. It was a busy, not fun weekend in Kentucky athletics. So yeah a little depressing last night. It all came to an end.
Not one of our better weekends as a fan base.
No.
I wonder how the rifle team did. Did they shoot some things or targets or anything?
I hope so. I don't know if it's rifle season yet, but I'm sure they're getting a lot of practice in.
It's duck season.
Duck season. Wabbit season. But yeah, the hits just keep on coming. There's news today, and I'm sure news tomorrow, and who knows. So we'll get into it as we go along, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've got a full show. We're gonna try to stay true with the clock as well. For starters, I hope you and yours had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too. It was small and kind of like everybody else's, not the big traditional Thanksgiving dinner, but it was nice to be around family and share that meal together. So we enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed yours.
I did. Another reminder, days are, these holidays keep things in perspective. What really means the most to us? Not games, family, friends, good friends. And here we are tonight. Mm-hmm. All right. Without further ado, we've got a full show. Justin Rowland is joining us. We're going to talk with Justin this first half of the show, talk football, basketball, and see if I can pour any gasoline to this this kind of rivalry.
Is it rivalry? Ever since he tweeted it, I couldn't believe it. Then he mentioned my name in an article. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, there's disagreement.
There's the banner scrolling. It is Rowland versus Brown Daddy.
I did link your story too, Justin. So I had to provide context to my argument.
You drove the clicks, man. I'm all good. We're good. Yeah.
All right, good.
Clickbait at its finest. Yeah. All right. Again, Round of Shots here on this Monday night, November 30th. Tomorrow.
Yeah, November 30th. Yep.
What'd you think about the snow today? Some snowflakes falling. Actually, there is still snow.
I didn't really get any up here in Indiana, and Justin, you're in Missouri.
We had some flurries this morning, but that's all we've had so far.
That's right.
Same here. Nothing too extraordinary.
All right. Speaking of nothing too extraordinary, let's go on and jump in and talk UK football, which has not dazzled us hardly at all this year. James, Kentucky at Florida, the outcome didn't surprise us.
Not shocking, but I think for the second week in a row, we got fooled a little bit with some promising offensive numbers in the first half. And just like at Alabama, and you're like, okay, maybe we are mixing it up some. Maybe we are going to figure some things out this week and expand the playbook. And it just, again, hit a wall. The offense once again got bland. Terry Wilson turned the ball over multiple times. They threw Joey Gatewood out there. He turned the ball over, although I don't blame it on him. It's mainly, in my opinion, Michael Drennan not fighting for a ball. But that's been another obvious theme with the wide receiver cores this season. It was just brutal to watch once again, and you saw it on the sidelines. You saw it after the game with some comments from some players, a little bit going back and forth. During the game, you saw Stoops and Merrill and Eddie Grand have a bit of a heated discussion about that call. It ended up being a touchdown. It ended up being a great play call, probably the best play call of the game. But it just seems like everyone's kind of cracking right now under what's been a hellish season for Kentucky football.
Justin, jump in. Your summation of the Florida game.
Well, yeah. I mean, on the bigger scale, this has been a crazy season for everybody. Like, guys normally get a month break in July, and they've been quarantined basically for a really long time. And I think the tensions and the stress are just getting everybody, and Kentucky's is compounded because of what's going on. He's right. I mean, James right. The Florida game is ugly. The Alabama game is ugly. There's no reason for Kentucky to get beat by that combined score over 2 weeks. Now, you're missing 20 guys almost each of those games on the road against two of the top 6 teams in the country. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean the offense doesn't suck. Yeah, the offense sucks. It clearly sucks. Like, even if nobody was out, I don't think the offense would have done anything. Mm-hmm. you know, I hear people saying this shouldn't be happening. These mistakes shouldn't be happening so many years into the Stoops era. And I don't really buy that. I just think the mistakes are like impossible to overcome because they never hit on big plays. Like if you have some playmakers, if you have some guys that are big time players on offense, you know, false start penalty doesn't have to kill you. It seems like a false start penalty kills these guys. You know, it's just little things they can't overcome. You know, 5 good plays in a row and then 1 false start penalty. And first and 15, no way they're getting this in 3 plays. You know,
Right.
and then you can't kick, you can't snap, you can't hold. It's a mess. Yeah, it's not a great season.
Kick, especially that Duffy punt that, you know, the rest of the team didn't get the memo that it was going one way and it went the other.
Either that or he didn't get the memo. The rest of the team was going the other way.
The other way, yeah. You know, people are watching this and they see the hashtag that's scrolling at the bottom of my best at a ESPN ticker. But James, you put out a article with on Sea of Blue on the 24th. The title, should Mark Stoops and Eddie Grant get a pass? No pun intended, because that's really what's failed us on offense. And you make your points and you reference an article that Justin wrote and reiterated how much you like him, but you disagree with him. For the pouring the gasoline.
Yeah.
Let's before we get into it, do you kind of summarize that article? Do you remember?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Look, basically what the article is, obviously very frustrated, really starting around the Missouri game is when things really started to not look great offensively. I mean, maybe you go back to the Tennessee game where almost all the points in the game were scored by the defense, or at least set up by the defense. You compound that with Missouri, you lose 20-10. Offense looked just completely lifeless. They were able to score against Vanderbilt, but so is everybody. And then you go to Alabama and Florida, and the offense is a problem. So basically what I was reacting to was Justin was saying, you know, we need to have patience and give these guys time. Where my point of view is like, look, this is 8 years into Mark Stoops at Kentucky. This is 5 years of Eddie Grand at Kentucky. I'm not saying they should get fired. I disagree with anybody that says they should be fired. I'm even a guy that says keep Eddie Grand. I'm not advocating for his firing. Mm. But what I am saying is that no, fix this stuff now. Like you told us we had the quarterback for the SEC. We had the offensive line for the SEC. We had the running backs for the SEC. We had the wide receivers. We got 2 tight ends. All I heard from the coaching staff all off season was how this offense is ready to go. And it's a veteran offense. And I do believe that the offensive line is probably the best we've seen in Kentucky in our lifetime. And I think that it was wasted. I think it was absolutely wasted. So who am I supposed to believe? The coaches or my eyes? And I'm not. And again, I don't want them getting fired. I'm like, look, you told us this was going to be a lot better than it is. There are no excuses. Get it fixed. And if it's a player problem, if it's a talent problem, you recruited those guys. Mark Stoops, Vince Marrow, Eddie Grand. Those are your recruits. So if you want to sit here and say, well, we don't have enough talent, that's on you. Either get better talent or develop the talent you have. So that is basically the summary of the article.
Yeah. So if I get this, James, you're not buying into what the coaches are saying.
No.
You're not buying into the players. And you didn't buy into Justin. Now, speaking of Justin, your article.
Not to make it personal or anything, but
–
totally. Let's do this. No, let's do this.
Yeah.
I thought what James said right now, I think is really reasonable. I don't really have any problem with that. What he was responding to initially was, I think, my story on our site when I said Mark Stoops should be given patience and goodwill, I guess, as he revamps and retools the offense. I even said he should be given the same amount of patience that a new coach would be given in a rebuilding job. And that was meant to be provocative. And so I'm not surprised that somebody jumped on that. The reason
you did a good job.
There you go. Yeah. I'm being fair to you. It wasn't just me saying we need to be patient. I said fans should be as patient with Stoops in fixing the offense as they would be with a brand new coach. The reason for that is what's the basketball equivalent of Kentucky football in the SEC? Like Ole Miss basketball is to Kentucky football historically.
Something like that.
Yeah, not a lot of talent, historically irrelevant. I guess what football is not like bad offense has characterized the last 8 years. Like the last 8 years, if we trace this story correctly, he had a long rebuilding project that it certainly didn't go quickly, but he's won an average of 8 games over the last 4 years going into this season. 18 wins over the previous two seasons, Citrus Bowl win, Duck Bowl win. It's the best 4-year stretch in Kentucky's football history in 70 years. 70 years. That's a really long time. And to say we shouldn't be patient with him as he fixes the one thing that has finally come to a head and caused a problem is like if Ole Miss basketball had won 22 games in a row, 4 seasons in a row, but their defense sucked. I'm not going to fixate on the defense sucking when the whole body of work has been way better than the historical norm. So, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, that it shouldn't take 4 years to fix the offense. And I'll even grant you this. I think the biggest question is Mark Stoops even convinced that the offense needs to be rebuilt? I don't know that he is. I don't know that he is. I don't know. I think part of me thinks that Stoops wants to get back to those 4 non-conference games and just gut and grit his way back to 8-4 with the same kind of football. I don't think he can do that. I think the sport has changed too much. But if this is a 2 or 3 year rebuilding project for the offense, I get it. Next year is going to be a rebuilding season anyways. Some people are saying, you might say, well, look at what Kiffin did in his first year at Ole Miss. He doesn't have, I mean, Ole Miss has some dogs. Like
they had weapons before he got there. Yeah.
Players, that's what Lane Kiffin does. Mark Stoops is not Lane Kiffin. He's not hired to fix the offense in 1 year. Ole Miss's defense is not going to be fixed in 1 year. That's the comp. You know, as long as Stoops has Kentucky above the historical norm, I think you have to be patient in progress.
Well, let me challenge you on this, Justin. I get it, that Stoops is. I get the patience thing, but here's what bothers me is that he clearly, and this is my perspective, and you guys might know better, but he clearly has a hand on the offense. He's a defensive guy, but he has a hand on it. But when you got someone like a Nick Saban, the GOAT, maybe, who puts his ego aside and hands the offense to whoever, he's done it, and those guys move on to get it, bigger, better positions or jobs. Why is it that difficult? Why is he not like paying attention to what else is going on? My thing is that we lost by 60 to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't had those numbers put on us since the 9 or whatever.
Or the worst loss since '96 when Florida beat Kentucky 65-0.
Yeah.
So you had to go all the way back to 1996 before you have a loss that bad.
Right.
So the offense has struggled all season. I can't imagine how much pressure the defense is in every week, with the exception of a few weeks. But to ask the defense to try to compete against Bama for as long as, it can't happen. Now, without playing 4 cupcakes, 4 gimmies, this is who we are as an SEC school. We are mid-tier at best. I don't think we'll ever see something, close to a SEC championship. My perspective. So that's the frustrating part, is that Stoops looked after his post or after the game, his presser, he sounded beat up, mentally beat up.
He did today too in his radio show. He was pretty down the dumps, I think.
Yeah. So with that said, we see Kelvin Joseph opting out. How much, Justin, start with you, has this season really hurt us with recruiting? Because we've seen one guy decommit.
One decommit, yeah.
Oh, at a
Wide
position that really is needed.
Yeah.
This is regression to me, Justin.
I mean, as far as recruiting, like, I think what we know, there's a pretty high floor. I think Stoops is going to recruit, even in a worst case scenario, better than the people before him. But we should also be honest about that. There is going to be a talent deficit between Kentucky and the schools at the top, and not just Alabama and Georgia. There's probably going to be a talent deficit between Kentucky and Auburn, for example. That's just the way it is. It's just probably always going to be that way. What Stoops is saying, what he would say, this is my conservative approach. This is the way to narrow the talent gap and to make us competitive with these teams. It's just like Tony Bennett with Virginia. Shorten the game. The other team gets fewer possessions. They start to stress out. They start to push a little bit. You keep them out of rhythm. And that worked for a while. I just think the sport has changed so much now. And if your goal in playing that way is to narrow the talent gap with the teams at the top, the obvious rebuttal to that is you're not beating the team playing like this. To narrow the talent gap, where are the wins against, Florida? And, you're not beating them anyways. So why not get ahead of the trend with the sport, or at least catch up to everybody? So I'm totally on board with that. I think it has taken a lot out of him this year. Expectations. We had some people saying they were going to go 7-3 this year. I think I said 5-5, and Andy jumped all over me. But I mean, 5-5, pretty modest. You had some people saying 7-3. I mean, in hindsight, 7-3 is like they're not Georgia. That's
right.
That's just not what they are. But I think it's taken a toll on Stoops, but also Schlarman and everything. They've been through more than probably any team in the country.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack. Go.
I was gonna say that's a good point. I mean, you take what happened to Chris Oates, you take what happened to J.J. Weaver. Late Saturday with him tearing his ACL, John Schlarman. I mean, they have been through the ringer, and Stoops even made a comment today about hey, if we get invited to a bowl game, I don't know if we'll take it, which I think they will, but you could just tell that he's just kind of mentally done. And look, I don't blame him. Honestly, I mean, you look and see what happens on the field, and then you look at Stoops, and he's kind of walking around the sidelines. He's not even really fired up anymore. I mean, we haven't really seen a good Mark Stoops eruption here recently. I mean, he used to get feisty, get on the refs or whatever. He's even stopped doing that. It's just, I just think that it's just been bad all around. But what do you think, Justin? What do you think the fix is, other than getting players? Is there anything that Eddie Gran can do next season to maybe hopefully jumpstart anything? Is there something to either Joey Gatewood or Bo Allen, who seem to be, the next, heir apparents to the quarterback position? I mean, what kind of hope is there, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask ultimately for the offense.
I think next year is going to be a rebuilding year. You're talking about the best on the team. The offensive line is going to replace pretty much everybody. Now you replace the 2 starting cornerbacks, 2 position units that are question mark. The defense hasn't been as good as you expected it to. You might lose Quentin Bohanna, who's the best, player on the defensive line, along with Pascal. You don't have Chris Oates like you thought you were going into this year. The receiver position totally unsettled, quarterback unsettled. I think next year the out-of-conference schedule is going to help, but it's going to be a tough year. So it's a good opportunity for a total rebuild of the offense. And like you, the reason I haven't said he needs to replace Eddie Gran is because I'm not in a position to know how much of this is Eddie Gran versus how much of this is Mark Stoops.
I'm with you.
I think the Shannon Dawson experience really made Stoops double down. There's some people who would tell you that Stoops hamstrung Neil Brown, but I think the Shannon Dawson experiment, where every time it was man coverage, okay, we're going to chuck it deep with Patrick Tolles, and it's 3 and out. I think in that moment, Mark Stoops like, never again. We're never doing that again. And I think that's what, when he hears tempo, that's what he sees. That's Shannon Dawson. I'm not doing that.
Well, he even said that during his post-game press conference where they were talking about, throwing the ball on first down. And he was just like, I don't like getting behind the chains. And I'm like, man, that's not much better than a 1 or 2 yard run. It's kind of like what we're getting right now. It's not, and I'm not blaming that on anybody. It's like, he just can't see. He can't. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's like PTSD from the Shannon Dawson experiment or something that he's having. It's like he's got to have more foresight than that. And even Ed Orgeron brought in Joe Brady and was like, "Hey, you take care of the passing game." I mean, do you think, Justin, there's a chance they bring like a specialist in to try to fix the passing game? And if they think Bo Allen is as good as a thrower as they say he is, you got to get somebody in there to tool the offense towards his strengths, don't you think? You think you'd ever do that?
I'm with you. Like, I don't think the offensive issue, I don't think they've changed what they're doing over the last 2 or 3 years. It's never been good offense. It's either been mediocre or it's been downright awful, which is what we're seeing. The difference is they don't have a Benny Snell or a Lynn Bowden. So I don't see a Bowden or a Snell on the horizon. Maybe Rodriguez similar to Snell. You don't have the explosive playmaker. And I don't see the explosive playmaker on next year's team either. So the fix has to be a system fix. And whether that's a new coordinator or a passing game coordinator or, a specialist coming in and helping, they're going to have to bring on anybody. They already don't have a special teams coordinator.
Right.
So, I mean, everybody's saying you need a special teams coordinator. Well, there goes somebody, or that's another assignment for somebody. And now you need a passing game coordinator. It's just, I don't know. I think Stoops is probably on the fence. I think he probably hears what Saban is saying about the sport changing, and he sees it week to week, and he saw it against Ole Miss this year, but he probably doesn't want to go down that road, and it's a tug of war. And I hope for the sake of the program that he does. Like, if I'm a head coach, I'm going to go down swinging. Like, if this isn't going to work out for me long term, I'm at least going to try something new. I just don't see this offense working for much longer. It's not working now. I don't see it working next year either.
How much of that is ego, James?
You know what? That's a great question. I don't know Stoops personally. I've never met him. Just from what I've seen, he doesn't seem like a guy with a giant ego. I don't really see him upstaging people, or he seems to have a good relationship with most of the coaches in the SEC. Maybe Justin knows a little bit more than I do, but I don't know if it's an ego thing or just a stubbornness thing. I think that seems to be a better word with Stoops is stubborn. You know how he likes to wear that Youngstown tough, moniker as a badge of honor. And I think he's kind of stuck in his ways, and this is what he's going to do, damn it. And, it's not because he thinks he's better or smarter than anybody else, but that's just what he wants to do. And that's my read on it, Justin. I don't know how accurate that is, but
he's a blue collar tough football guy who's got his mind made up on this. He probably feels like he's had an open mind, and he has had a good reason for doing it. There's been some track record that seems to justify what he did. 7 wins. I think up until last year they had more wins than the previous year. Every single year he was at Kentucky, so yeah, it was working, and so it's not a surprise that he's a little bit late to change on this or struggling to change on it. What I would say is I hope that he hasn't drawn the wrong conclusions on the wrong information. Like, I think some of the reason why that worked in the East is because the East was pretty bad for a while. Like, you could get away with that with Missouri. Yeah, they had Drew Lock, but they really weren't. I mean, they were a team that crumbled. They were a weak team mentally. South Carolina dropped off a lot. Vanderbilt been really bad. They've drawn Mississippi State as they've been going down with Mullen leaving and whatnot. I think that was a little bit, I don't want to say fool's gold because they earned it, but it was a little bit fool's gold. I don't think unless you're a triple option team, you just can't win consistently unless you're able to pass for 300 yards in a football game. They can't even pass for 120 yards, and they're not even a triple option team. So, I think it's staring him right in the face, and I hope he's got good people giving him good information.
In a season where the SEC has just been off the charts offensively, it's just does Kellen want to come in and say something, Jane?
No, my daughter was waving at me.
Does she want to come in and say?
No, she's going to bed.
I would like her take on Stoops. Final thoughts.
She doesn't know who Stoops is, man.
I actually
she's born to JoJo Siwa. That's she'll tell you about JoJo.
Let's we've got a few minutes, so let's skip over to Kentucky basketball. Justin, was it yesterday? Richmond?
Yeah, yesterday.
Was it?
Seemed like a long time ago, but yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, I wasn't shocked. I mean, the hype on Richmond being, a solid team
Yeah.
where, we're not a team yet. And, but this is who we are in November and December. Panic? No panic yet, right, Justin?
No, like I made the same mistake this year that I made last year. Like they didn't beat Michigan State this year, but I had the same feeling after that first game as I did after the Michigan State game. I was like, wow, maybe this team is really going to be legit right from the jump. And I started to get kind of worked up. And then when the loss happened, my first instinct is this team just really isn't very good. But I'm not going there this year because we've seen 10, 11 years. We know they got to figure some things out, but they're still going to be in the mix at the end of the season. I think what is different about this year is, well, Hagens wasn't really great last year, but it's not obvious how the point guard situation is going to shake out this year. That's a big question Calipari has to reckon with. I don't know what the answer is. Yeah.
I like the core. I like the talent of this team. I think as far as the talent's concerned, I mean, you had in both games, win and a loss, BJ Boston, Terrence Clark, Olivier Sarr, all three played really well. For the most part, getting doubles offensively. You think, okay, you can see the flashes there. Isaiah Jackson, raw offensively, but he got 14 rebounds, multiple blocks. You can see the pieces, Justin and Kevin. You can see the pieces there. But for whatever reason, in that second half against Richmond, offensively, they looked lost, like completely lost. And maybe there's something to what Justin said about the point guard position, not having a solidified floor general running that point guard might have a lot to do with it. And Calipari's got to figure out, look, if Devin Askew can't do it, you got a guy in Davion Mintz that's pretty damn good basketball player.
That too is alarming that he did not get more minutes than he did.
Yeah,
Keep in mind, James, I'm looking at this, 4 guys yesterday played 35 or more minutes.
Yeah. And you saw just about everybody on the team except for Keon Brooks and the walk-ons played Wednesday night. Then you turn around Sunday, and it's like he shortened the bench, which I guess, when he put Lance Ware out there, he was fouling people. Jacob Toppin didn't really look like he knew where he was going. He didn't even put Dante Allen in, which, like, at least put that kid in and see if he could shoot a 3 because that's what he's supposed to do.
Why didn't he play?
I don't know. He was ready to go. I mean, he played the other night.
Coach's decision, not
Dante
Allen, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he mean, but he can't move. Like he's just not. He's stiff.
Yeah,
like, I mean, he him in that first game, and he's very stiff. And if you're that stiff, it's going to be hard for Cal to play you. I just don't think he likes to play guys like that.
Why do you think he didn't play? I know he gave the explanation that he thought Mintz had 2 fouls in the first half. Why do you think he didn't get hardly any run at all in the second half? Well, it was clear Askew wasn't getting the job done. Why do you think, Justin?
I don't think Cal is going to let Davion be the guy. And for whatever, I'm not saying he's wrong in that, but you've heard the way he said this, I'm going to give Askew the chance to run this team. When Askew has the ball, he lets Askew try to run the show. When Mintz is in the game, Mintz is not run. I think there is something to, he's asking Askew to do more than he's asking Mintz to do, which is why Mintz looks a little bit better. Mintz is out there as like a spot up shooter. Okay, pass the ball to the wing, then to the corner. He thinks that Askew is capable of taking on more than he thinks Mintz is. And I get that. Mintz, we know 4 years of what Mintz was at Creighton. He's probably not a national championship point guard.
Sure.
Askew might not be either, but we don't know that yet. Right. And, you got some people saying like Travis Graff with us thinks that Terrence Clark needs to run the offense. I don't know if I don't buy the whole positionless basketball thing. I think that's a bunch of junk. Like
Cal has positions.
It's a slogan. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yeah.
I don't know. This team is not going to be the favorite at any point this season. After watching Gonzaga, I don't see Kentucky beating Gonzaga this year unless they become something I'm not anticipating them to be.
Yeah. I was having this conversation with a friend earlier today, and I told them that because of who our MO is, with the team every year, I'd rather us play the Dukes and the Kansases versus a Richmond anytime. You got a Richmond team who is a complete basketball team. We should be either playing garbage teams in November or the Dukes or teams that mirror us where they're trying to find their identity. They got a bunch of young kids. They're relying on athleticism and, talent versus, a backdoor, every now and then. So,
well, they backdoored them to death on Sunday. I mean, it was just like backdoor cut after backdoor cut.
Good team.
And they were a good team.
Yeah.
Richmond, look, if they would have lost to Richmond by like 3 to 7 points, I wouldn't have an issue. I'd be like, look, that's just a good basketball team. They're picked to win their league. They're going to go to the tournament. They're veteran. I get it. But when you get run off the court in the second half, just smoked, and you had guys out there that looked like they'd never dribbled a basketball offensively, that's where my issue came in. If they would have got beat by that team and they, it was just up and down, back and forth, and it was just a, one of those things that happens, cool. I get it. When you get beat like a drum, oof.
And that
ain't gonna go well.
Calipari has to own it because he's the one that's created this system, and it's been successful on the level. But if you're going to have a revolving door of talent and you're not going to recruit the same guys Duke is getting, right. And he does better with those guys than Coach K does, by the way. If you're 100%. If you're not gonna get those top alpha dudes, number 1, number 2 players in the country, and you're still gonna have the revolving door that makes Nick Richards a unicorn, I don't want to hear, well, we're a bunch of freshmen and this is what you guys asked for, and it's just you made $50
rinse
million
and repeat, man.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Before we let you go, I gotta ask you, Justin, what was your take on Dan Dakich, his round of shot on Calipari?
I mean, I thought it was in character, like weird for anybody else, but not for him.
That's a good point. Yeah,
I thought it was kind of snitchy to involve Urban in that. I don't think Urban wanted to be involved in that. I couldn't tell from the context whether he was saying this is what Cal does or this is what coaches do in general. But I think it's pretty clear he's talking about Calipari. Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, Cal does make some things about him that don't have to be about him.
It's a pity party sometimes with Cal.
I've come to think that Cal is not the dude that I thought he was when they hired him. I didn't think he was a cheater. I thought they should have hired him, after Tubby. But he's a better guy than I probably thought he was, and maybe he's mellowed over the last 10 years. So I don't think he's out there. I think he does genuinely have the interest of the kids at heart at the end of the day. So I thought it was a little bit unfair.
Yeah, actually, to me, the timing with Cal, if you think about it, correct me if I'm wrong. If Cal would have came on after Tubby, would we have took the hit on Derrick Rose? Because I think it would have been highly likely Rose would have followed Cal, right?
That's the scenario that most people think would have happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
All right, Justin, you gave us your 30-ish. Now's your time. I'll mute James if I have to. Get your final take at Streeble, Round Daddy.
My final take is just a little bit ridiculous in that moment. No, I'm kidding. I think you're right. I think that Twitter can make things seem more extreme than they are. But what I thought you were saying was if the offense isn't fixed next year, then he needs to be fired or he needs to be on the hot seat. And, if they get 0-12, then yeah, he's going to be on the hot seat going into 2022. My only point is next year is going to kind of be a throwaway year and everybody needs to brace for that. And it's okay. I don't expect them to be really competitive again in the SEC until 2022. And I think that that's fair. I think he's earned that. And I think a new coach would get the same courtesy and he deserves that himself. So that's all I'm saying. Anything
going on at Cats Illustrated the folks need to know about?
Yeah, absolutely. If you join now, you get a 25% discount. So that's $75 a year, and we'll give you a $75 gift card to Nike. So you're basically just paying for a $75 Nike gift card. And I know you have to shop for. You're done. That's all.
Justin, do you have a couple more minutes?
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
I'm bringing on my guys for the second segment. Max Godby, Justin Jeffries, Terry Brown. I'm gonna give each one of you you get to ask Justin a question.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going first.
Well, Terry's Mr. Isle. What's up, guys?
Terry could ask some questions, man. I don't even know what he's going to open up here. Yeah.
Terry, give us.
How's it going? How's the family? I'll go easy.
How's the family?
Yeah.
They're holed off downstairs under strict instructions not to make too much noise, and I think they're getting restless.
Max, do you have a question for Justin?
Yes, I do. I have a hard-hitting question.
Like I knew you would.
Here we go.
No, just seriously, like we talk all the time on Twitter and stuff, and we've probably interacted with each other now for probably 10 years. How in the world is this the first time I'm actually hearing your voice? I just now thought about that.
I'm a little bit upset that you don't listen to the Leach Report every Thursday morning at 9:15 a.m.
I have a contract issue with that, Justin. You know that.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah,
I get yelled at.
Well, we obviously have great chemistry, so after the show, let's work on our own podcast.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. Justin, anything?
I mean, I ain't got any questions, but I know I've heard the name Justin Rowland for a long, long time, ever since I played ball. So he's real.
Legendary hostage video, right?
He's real. He's real.
Yeah, Justin earlier. Go ahead, Justin.
The rest of our walls are covered in crayon, so that's the only spot I've got.
I hear that, brother.
It was Justin or James mentioned something about us. False starts and first and 15.
That was me.
Yeah, I was proud. I was gonna say it was indirect.
That was all me, and it's very warranted.
Justin, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all the time.
We'll be in
Thanks,
touch,
Justin.
brother.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Justin Rowland, Cats Illustrated. All right, second segment. Sorry to keep you guys. As James messaged me before the show, like we need to try to keep it at the 10 o'clock range. And I was like, we can only regurgitate the same song and dance like we have been. So Justin, I'll start with you. I don't know how much recap you want to give on the Florida, but anything, promising, or what's your feel right now?
I mean, let's be honest. You were right. You hit the nail on the head. It's the same old song and dance. We played decent for a quarter and a half, and then we pissed down our legs to end the quarter or to end the half, and then the next team, whoever it may be Vandy, may be Alabama. Hey, at least we didn't get 63 put on us. We better cut that in half. But it was just, it was, yuck, whatever you want to call it. It's getting old. It's getting old. I'm tired of watching it. Luckily, we only got one more game to watch this shit, and then I can get back to pretending to know what I'm talking about in basketball season.
Really count on that. Max, what say you?
It's the same song and dance, but now you're running into a situation now where it's not an ineffective offense. Right now, you're seeing there's something brewing in the background, and outside looking in, it's easy to say, it's the offense. Well, the offense sucks. Well, it sucked all year, and there's been no sort of adjustments to it whatsoever. Why is that? And you start prying and digging a little bit deeper. There's always been a saying, the pig that's stuck in the fence is usually one that squeals the loudest. So when all of a sudden someone starts screaming and saying that there's not an issue, journalists don't understand it, you start prying into that, usually that means there's an issue. And I've heard enough sound bites to kind of know something's going on. And that's where I'm real scared. We talked about it on our post-game show, how you as a program are at a crossroads right now. You can continue to improve. Every program and every coach is due to have a bad year. It just happens. Even the great Nick Saban lost 2 games in the season. However,
2.
Yeah, trash. Am I right?
Get him out of here.
But you get into a situation now what are you going to do after having a bad year? How are you going to let that affect recruiting? Are you going to keep the same coaching staff on staff? Are you going to be able to move yourself into a different philosophy afterwards? There's a lot of questions that you have to answer during the off season.
Terry, 9 games in. Your take now.
Man, it's a global pandemic. Like, these kids been isolated since June, July. Coaches have died. You've got a player that has had medical issues in a wheelchair. You know, I think we're reading too much into everything going on while the world is on fire. I mean, I don't enjoy watching them get blown out every week, but at this point, if you're not Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, you look at the landscape of college football. There are way more programs scratching their heads just like we're doing right now. I think we need to extend some grace and just say, look, 2020 is a wash. Look, we got through it. You know, no one got too sick. No one died. That's a win. You move on. You let Alabama and Clemson do their championship thing. Everybody else, you've got Minnesota with 47 people, you know, with the virus. Bowl games are shutting down left and right. Expecting normal in a non-normal year, I don't know. I'm past the point of complaining about stuff in the middle of a pandemic.
No, that's fair.
See, I would agree with that, but the
pandemic is hitting everybody.
Yeah,
and not everyone is.
And everybody's talking. You know, all the coaches were like, "Hey, man, why are we getting disrespected?" And coaches is talking all this cash shit. Listen, you come out, you get your head beat in. There's got to be some consequences with that.
I mean, is Eddie Grand quarantined to living underneath a rock back in the 1970s? Like,
and I'm not trying to give these guys a pass or anything.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
no.
I don't enjoy, because I watch every minute of every game. I have, you know, whenever Kentucky is, I'll watch, be it softball, gymnastics, whatever. I'm that person. But at the same time, this year is just, if you look at the landscape of every single thing, yes, there's things you need to improve on for 2021. That's a given. The offense cannot continue like it is. But making grand declarations for this particular season, I don't think that's fair to anybody, whether it's Will Muschamp being fired at South Carolina, Derek Mason at Vanderbilt. Like, this year, just having a functioning season, I think, is a win. Because I can Twitter search a lot of people that said in June and July, just give us football. If you just give us football, please just give us football. We'll wear our mask. We will social distance. Give us football. The country needs it. Please, God, give me Kentucky football. And now it's like, this person's fired. This player sucks. Wins basketball season. At some point, we need to extend grace, not just for sports. We need to extend grace to everybody else. I'm sorry I'm preaching, but I'm like, it is a pandemic that is getting worse.
What do you think the team? Because it seems like that some of the players are cracking under the pressure. I mean, you had some not shots, but you had some comments by Quentin Bohannon about the play calling, and he's the defensive guy. You had comments. Terry Wilson posted, I believe, it on Instagram, something about doesn't want to keep his mouth shut anymore because the taste is salty. I'm paraphrasing there, and then you had Kelvin Joseph today. Just he's done. He's not playing. And then Mark Stoops said that the conversation between him and Kelvin Joseph was, "Hey, I still want to be on the team. I just don't want to play Saturday, but I'll still be on the sidelines." Stoops was like, "No. Either you're playing or you're not." And so Kelvin Joseph opted out. I mean, it just feels like the entire team is just kind of losing it at this point. And it's for a multitude of reasons. You had the John Schlarman tragedy. You had J.J. Weaver tearing ACL this past weekend. Now you had the Kelvin Joseph stuff. You've had the losing, getting your brains beat in. It just seems like everybody's done at this point. And is that something that's going to carry over to next year? I mean, how much of this does Stoops and the staff have to salvage at this point?
And they've lost at least one recruit.
They lost
right
one
now.
recruit so far.
Yeah, so far.
I mean,
So
this is a negative trajectory, and it just seems like one thing on top of the next. And right now, Stoops just trying to keep things together. In my mind, I mean, he sounds like a beat down, broken man when he's on the radio or on a Zoom call or whatever. Right now, I think he's doing everything he can to keep this from completely falling apart. That's
Max,
my take on it.
Yeah, Max has he lost this team or some of the players with this team?
I don't know.
The fact that you could not say no is enough for me.
It's
a former player.
Man, I've been a part of some really good locker rooms that still sucked at football, and then I've been part of ones that have been in an extremely toxic locker room as well that won a few more games. Like all it takes is a few guys, and your habits, good habits, bad habits, whatever they are, who you are as a person always comes up in adversity. Who you really are deep down inside, as Mike Summers always said, when the bullets start flying and everything starts going bad, that's when you truly know who's willing to be in the foxhole with you. That's when you truly know. And I've seen that in my career. I've seen guys that, after getting their tails absolutely beat in by a 3-ranked Florida, then the next week a 5th-ranked Georgia, and then the very next week a 10th-ranked LSU, and said, "Screw it, I'm not doing the rest of the season anymore," and just leave. It's you've seen that. But as a player and as a teammate, you don't want guys like that on your team. Now the question becomes, what kind of policing is this team doing? Usually you look at, and Justin, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but traditionally on UK's team, it's been the offensive line. Those are usually the guys that were the big player police.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of 2014, it was Patrick Tolles, Bud Dupree, and Zadarius Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the 3 main police, player police. So the question is, I think you're seeing, with the exception of a Landon Young and a Drake Jackson, I don't see where you have a lot of leaders that are those, not the lead by example, but truly just vocal leaders that are willing to get in your face and yell at you and call you out. Zadarius Smith was extremely great at that. Zadarius could be downright cruel to you. Michael Douglas could be downright cruel to you. John Toth could be downright cruel to you. The stories I've heard about Lynn Bowden, he sounded like a Michael Jordan on steroids. Was awful to be around. He was a hell of a teammate, but he was an awful person if you're trying to look for someone for to build your self-esteem up, because he held a standard. I'm not questioning anyone's leadership skills. I'm just saying it doesn't seem like you have those quote-unquote dogs on your team that's going to hold the whole team to a standard. And when everything's going awry, and just like Terry said, and I agree with Terry, this team's been hit with stuff that there will be 500 programs in the next 20 years that have not hit the exact same thing as what this UK team's gone through. However, you still got to play the game. You still got to line up and play. You begged for this season. Now you got to line up and do it. I don't see a lot of guys that are trying to rally this team and try, when the going gets tough, those good habits of rising up, of saying we're going to be able to finish this out together.
And I understand that, but judging from my social media feed an hour before the Florida game, a lot of people were Googling, how many players do you need to play an SEC football game? Like, what are the requirements? What are the roster requirements? So when you're Googling that and you're on the road to Alabama and at Florida, I think and look, again, I don't like to watch my team lose like that, but I'm just extending a little bit of grace. I didn't think about this until Van Hiles, that played way back when I was at UK, brought up the Trent DeJuro murder before the '94 season, and that team went 1-10. And his point was sometimes things happen that just hang with a team. I've never played football at any kind of level or anything, but I have to imagine that different things, if it was just the pandemic, okay. If it was just Coach Schlarman passing, okay. If it was just Chris Oates, okay. But I just think there's so much going on that I don't fault these guys for just being at the end of the rope. Plus going into those stadiums shorthanded.
Justin, kind of the same question to you that I asked Max.
I agree with Max. You know, the policing and the leadership seems to be lacking a little bit this year. I mean, you've always heard that Terry has been the leader, and then he goes through his slips and bumps, and right or wrong was pulled from a couple games and maybe gotten his feelings a little bit. So when you see your leader, your so-called leader, starting to slip in confidence. And then, like you say, Terry, I agree with that as well. Take that and your leaders going through injuries and benchings and stuff like that, compounded with coronavirus, compounded with getting your head smacked in by Alabama and losing to Missouri and playing close with Vandy. I mean, and then compounded with, Coach Schlarman. I think everything's just kind of taking its toll. I know it's taking its toll on me, and I ain't even on the damn team. I go to my 07 team, and we had, I feel like everybody on the team was policing each other. I mean, you talk about Andre Woods and Raphael Little, Jacob Tammy, Dickie Lyons, Wesley Woodyard, Corey Peters, Myron Pryor. I could keep going. And look how successful that team was, because we had so many leaders.
Badass team.
But I think it's just getting to the point where, everybody's just kind of done. I don't think they want anything to do with a bowl game. I know if I was on that team, I don't want nothing to do with a bowl game. You can't do anything. You can't do anything. I mean, if you go down to Nashville, then what are you going to do? I mean, you're in the middle of a pandemic. And, yeah, exactly. And that's a lot of the benefit of going to bowl games is the experience.
Not one more game with your brothers, that kind of thing.
The bowl game's a glorified vacation.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
No, some of these guys, if they're going to the next level, that gives them another opportunity to play and to show, scouts and stuff like that. Hey, I can play. I can still play, or give a little bit more game feel to some NFL guys. But on top of that, that's more of a business decision than anything. Max, you're right. It's a glorified vacation that you just happen to play football at.
And you get some free stuff, right?
Oh yeah, you get free stuff. Absolutely.
And you're about 15 pounds heavier going into the game.
Oh, absolutely. And you got to practice. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Ours was always we used to call it winter camp. Winter camp. It was terrible. It was like going back through camp again, because you had a month and a half to practice to get ready for it. It was awful. I'd rather taking my ass home.
And you hear all the fans, extra practice. And players are like, no more practice. We're done.
What's James? The article I'm gonna just bring this up so the guys can hear. You put the article out there. Should Stoops and Grand get a pass on the failed offense? After that conversation with Justin and tonight, and just the back and forth prior to tonight, are you staying? You staying true to your take on that?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I don't want anybody to get fired. I don't want Stoops or Grand gone. But at the same time, it's like they've never really had a good offense. And this year it was more exacerbated than ever. And when you go against like a team like Missouri or even Tennessee, they put up like 30-something points on them, but most of that was gifted by the defense. Just offensively, this team is stuck in the mud, and recruits aren't going to look at that and say, yeah, I want to play in that kind of offense if you're a playmaker. I do think that with a guy like Benny Snell, who's a generational talent in Kentucky, the greatest running back we've ever seen there, Josh Allen was a one-man wrecking crew defensively. And then last year, Lynn Bowden was just a super freak, was able to step in there and do things that we've not seen a player in his position do. And they've had, in my opinion, some truly elite talent kind of bail them out and their offense out. And this year, there's not elite talent. I think there's an elite offensive line. I think they have very good running backs, but Terry's not an elite quarterback. Neither is Bo Allen right now. Neither is Joey Gatewood. And the wide receivers are definitely not outside of Josh Ali. I'll give Josh Ali credit. That dude at least will bust his ass. Keaton Upshaw, I think, is a good talent that's very underutilized on this team.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that these coaches need to either target better talent or they need to bring the players along and have better progression because the development just hasn't been there.
You mentioned either on a tweet or maybe this article that during Stoops' run, Steven Johnson is arguably the best quarterback.
I think he is the best quarterback.
Yeah,
as far as
but not even close to the most talented.
No, not close to the most talented at all. But he's, in my mind, if you're telling me out of all the quarterbacks that Stoops has had in his tenure, I'm taking him first, second, and third. In my opinion, I just think the world of him. He's one of my favorite Kentucky players of all time. And like you said, he's not the most talented dude, but damn it, he gave everything he got. Man. He got it done. He could throw the damn ball. That's the thing. He could throw the damn ball. Now, it did help to have a weapon like Jeff Badette and Garrett Johnson on your side as well. But it's like, man, they just have not been able to develop a quarterback under their watch.
So you're saying that Steven Johnson was good because he had running wide receivers that were able to run routes and catch the ball.
That's part of it. And
okay. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure.
Part of it. That's now, I said that too.
I get you, man.
I mean, they don't have elite wide receivers, and I get again. That's not exactly maybe Terry Wilson's fault, but I mean, Saturday he's just throwing the ball straight at guys. I mean,
yeah.
He's straight. It's just, I mean, I like the guy. He's very nice. He was on our show, but he just wasn't a very good quarterback. He just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's South Carolina? Do we end on a where is that game at, by the way?
South Carolina.
It is. Yeah. Their Muschamp just got fired, right? Last week?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks. Okay. What do you need to see, Max, with this South Carolina game? Anything promising or just like?
I mean, you need to come out with a win for one. Secondly, you need to basically just enact a physical dominance against South Carolina. That's what was so frustrating watching the game when it was down in that was of course the one away game I went to, and because South Carolina was one of the coolest places I've ever played. It's still my favorite stadium to go and play, especially a night game. It's unreal, but. You go into that game. South Carolina is known for their length on the defensive line and their linebacking core. They're not known for being able to penetrate through offensive lines and penetrate gaps. They're known as kind of a read defensive line, just getting big in the hole and just staying in their gaps. And it's a great opportunity as an offensive line to just bulldoze them over with powers and counters. It's a game that's a staple of being able to establish an inside run game and a power game and really control the line of scrimmage and dictate the game. They weren't able to do that last year. I don't know, because Sawyer Smith was banged up. We found out he had the issue with the shoulder that game. I don't know, but you were physically embarrassed by an inferior South Carolina team that has been irrelevant since 2013. So you need to go into this game, treat South Carolina who they are, an inferior team that has inferior talent. You need to treat them like a Vandy because that's what they are. And you need to go and you need to be able to beat this team by at least 2-3 scores at the minimum. Dominate your will. It's a broken team with a interim coach and a coaching staff that has given up with players that have given up.
Mm-hmm.
Run the ball down their throat and make a statement.
We barely beat Vandy, just saying.
I know. I'm saying what I'm saying is run the ball down their throat and beat them by double digits. That's all I'm asking.
Justin, South Carolina.
South Carolina. Here, I'm going to start with what I don't want to see. And I don't want to see this, because if we come out and start slinging the ball all over and doing all these fun and intricate plays and Eddie Grant's 13 plays,
that's guaranteed for the first half of the first quarter.
Yeah, if he continues that through the whole game, I'm gonna be more pissed off than I would be if we blew them out, because I don't want to see. I want them to keep doing what they're doing. Save all the good shit for off season and give me something to look forward to, or give me some change to look forward to. But I agree with Max. You lean on the offensive line. This could possibly be the last time they play together. You got Rose and Smoke that you just need to lean. And I guess maybe C-Rob might be playing. I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea if he's going to play or not, Chris Rodriguez. But yeah, just lean on him. And the defense needs to come out and play like the defense is capable of playing. Besides maybe Tennessee, and I'll be honest with you, I mean, we played a good half of football, second half football on the offensive end. But on the defensive end, I want to see a full 60-minute football game played consistently. I want to see the defense play well and the offense play well. They don't have to blow my socks off with dumb play calling and stuff like that. Just put together a complete game. That's what I'm looking for. Nothing fancy, a complete game. And I agree with Max, man. I need 14 at least.
Well, you're gonna get fancy, whether you want it or not, for the first 14 plays. 7.5 minutes of
plays. Then that script goes out and he loses his mind. He turns into freaking Helen Keller out there trying to talk.
Turkey leg, Terry Brown, South Carolina.
I agree with those guys. On Cats Talk on Wednesday, we've got a South Carolina blogger coming on that covers the team, Katie Drzinski. She's been on before, and following her tweets, South Carolina has given up on this season. They've basically just kind of said,
so we have found someone worse.
They're playing out the string. Well, in losing, was it 5 or 6 straight games to Kentucky, was kind of, that's when he started getting nudged toward that. Yeah, we can't have that kind of situation. So I'm going to take a win regardless. Don't get too cute. A win is a win, something to kind of end this crazy season. So we do have something to feel good about in the off season. A win over a team that has kind of given up. I think that will kind of, 2020, not great, but we'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just a couple minutes, guys. Final shot. I'm going to stay with you, Terry. Give me your final shot, whatever.
My final shot this week, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. But like I've been ranting about for the past 30 minutes, just extend some grace to each other. Not just in the sports world, but the world is on fire. Things are getting worse with the pandemic. Your Christmas shopping, holiday shopping, just extends a little bit of grace to each other, even on social media. I know I need to be better about that myself, but we're all in this together.
Justin.
My final shot, parting shot, whatever you want to call it, is how about the snow? I'm a snowman. I'm a snowman myself. I am.
So you melt when it gets warm. You melt.
Yes. No. Well, see, here's my thing. If it's gonna be cold, I want some snow. I don't want it to be cold for no reason. I don't need that disrespect in my life. I at least want something to look at if it's gonna be cold outside. And I finally got it. I go outside, let the dog out. I'm like, oh shit, it snowed. Let's go. I'm cool. So that's my final shot.
Right.
You can come visit me. Where today it was 19 degrees. So
are you in Iowa now? Where are you?
Oh,
I'm in Louisville right now, but I'm heading that way. They've already had snow, so you can come visit me all you want.
I'm cool, yeah. See, I'm cool with that. At least give me something to look at. Cold, just to be cold is no fun.
Oh my God, B, what say you? Final shot.
All right, so spoiler warning. So last episode of Mandalorian was probably the best piece of Star Wars content. I said that a few weeks ago about the first episode. This was the best piece of Star Wars content that I've seen in 15 years.
It's awesome.
The way that now you're bringing in Grand Admiral Thrawn, Ahsoka Tano, fantastic, and the way the world building that they're doing with this show. Go ahead, fire Kathleen Kennedy. take her tail and throw her out of Disneyland and put Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau on that throne and have them run everything involving Star Wars. Put those geeks in a room and let them play with their Star Wars action figures and come up stuff, because whatever they're doing is working.
James, final shot.
I'm with Max on that one. The Mandalorian has been fantastic all season. The last episode was pretty great. You know what? I don't know. I think everybody said it pretty well. I'm hoping, like Terry, that the holiday season kind of lightens everybody up a little bit and hopefully calms things down. I know my kids are a lot happier now. I mean, school's out, but they at least have a Christmas tree up. They have at least some things to look forward to here in the coming weeks, some exciting things. So I just hope the holiday season starts to kind of permeate through the rest of the populace, and then people will start to realize, like, oh, you know, crap, we had to live on this planet together. And there's nowhere really for us to go, so it'd be nice to just kind of get along here for the next few months. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for some happiness. I'm ready for some cheer. So hopefully we'll see it. I didn't even drink any alcohol tonight, and I didn't either.
I feel
feeling good. I'm just feeling good tonight. I'm hoping that all of you feel the same way. Terry's got his Gatorade as usual.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
All right, guys. I'm going to leave you with this is my final shot. When you think of, real quick, Kazakhstan, you think of who?
Borat,
of course. Well, now there's somebody else you can think about. Proving that love is blind and sometimes kooky, a bodybuilder from Kazakhstan has tied the knot with his dearly beloved, someone he dated for 8 months before proposing a year ago. So, you know, there is somebody for everybody. So I got to show you this for a few seconds of this. Let me see.
Okay. Hold on here. I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't either. I'm kind of
nervous. Yeah, I'm with you, Justin. I'm a little nervous.
Hold on. There we go. Damn it. Are you seeing this?
No.
Hold on.
Why are we doing this?
Because it's still my show.
Why are we giving this dude a platform?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Hold on.
Uh-oh, Max is what? I'm worried.
I am too.
I'm just kind of sweating.
You know you can't meet people on the internet. That's crazy talk.
Says the man that met his fiancée on the internet. Well, it's still a great story. Great story.
That's been my highlight of 2020, man.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a hell of a highlight. Hell of a highlight.
This is
now you're talking
about. We have two Kevins.
What's going on? Oh my gosh.
Lord, make it stop.
Make it stop. Hold on. James, you're going to have to bear with me.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. I
get more wrinkles in my eyes every week. That's bad.
You need Botox?
No, I just need not to be old.
All right.
You've got way too good of a camera. No.
You're still not seeing?
No.
Uh-oh.
All right, here you
go. I am.
Okay.
It's a sex doll.
Oh, no.
It sure the hell is. I know.
Oh, no.
She's kind of bad, though. I'm not going to lie. Look at this.
What the heck's wrong with people?
What'd he do? How long have they been married? They met at a nightclub. I bet they did. I wonder if she waited.
This is like that movie. This is that movie, Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah, yes, it is a movie.
That's enough of that.
Ryan Gosling. You're exactly right. I almost said Ryan Reynolds. Was like, that's not Ryan Reynolds. You're right. Ryan Gosling. Lars and the Real Girl. What?
All right. I saw that today, and I thought, that's my final shot. All right, guys. Good stuff tonight. Let's do it again next week.
I'm gonna start breaking some basketball stuff. All right, so y'all can give me.
You got to, because eventually we're gonna stop talking football.
I'm gonna turn into a basketball Benny.
I can't, as Cal
You can do it.
says, we can't hide you on this show, Justin, if you don't know what the.
Hey, I can bullshit with the best of them. I'm a salesman. You got to remember that. I'll fake it till I make it.
There you go. Justin Jeffries, Terry, what is it? Did I get it right? Is it turkey leg? Did I say it right?
Yeah, for Thanksgiving, I'll change it up to something else. But
I
go
love it. Max Godby, Strebel, Hale ending it tonight, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We will do it again next week.
See y'all later.
All right,
Good night.
peace out.
Peace out.